next speaker is Javier Bustos. He's a professor. Javier is a civil engineer in computing from the University of Chile and doctor in informatics from the University of Nice, France. He is a professor at the University of Chile since 2001, executive director of NIC Chile Research Lab since 2012. And he is going to present El Observatorio del DNS Latinoamericano. The stage is yours.
Okay, thanks. Oh, this one. I don't know. Okay, first of all, I think I switched to Spanish and give some work to the translators. Gracias.
Thank you very much for the invitation, especially thanks to Hugo Salgado, who asked me to make this presentation. This is quite a brief presentation. I will be making a presentation of the Latin American DNS Observatory. This is a project. To give you a bit of context, this began in 2016. These are all the measurement projects that we have at NIC Labs, NIC Chile. We love to measure things. We have had since 2010, when we began with a platform to measure the neutrality law in Chile. We have Rata DNS. We're a whole set of tools that we have to do real-time measurement of DNS traces. The project Yafun, which was the entire optic fiber in national level, and Peppa-Pin, which is a platform to measure the internet quality. And at present, because of the rebirth of all these AI algorithms, we're now working on automating the look for anomalies in the network. In addition to that, we have a nice project on phishing and DNS abuse. So let's go back in time, 10 years, and let us speak about this DNS Observatory. This project promoted by ICANN. And this analyzes the robustness and resilience of DNS. The idea was to do active and ongoing measurements at a given time, at a regular time. We used to run a whole set of tests on all the domains. The idea then was to define metrics based on certain recommendations made to measure the solidity, the robustness of the DNS. So we analyze the NS numbers, the diversity of ASNs, the diversity in terms of countries. We are from Chile, but we always had some disaster, an earthquake, a tsunami, or things of that kind. And we tested the IPv6 penetration, DNS sec deployment, and other typical errors. So how does this work? This was very simple. Someone gives us a domain name list, and we run all these times, and we store the results in a database. And at the same time, we had a whole set of reports produced by this analysis and located these in a website for 2016. If you look at it, that was the way we started. So the idea was to test the authoritative DNSs, of course. The data sources were the following. We work with .cl, and in El Salvador, we had these two data sources, and we're trying to improve the amount of participants in this observatory. And for some of the reports, we typically took the Alexa top 1 million cases to see where we were standing. These are some of the results we have. These are results from 2020. instead of putting the results for 2023, I put the results of 2020. This was a mistake, but these haven't changed so much over these 3 years. The number of name servers per domain, although the recommendation says that hopefully we have 3, the majority have 2. We also have the autonomous systems. According to the recommendation, hopefully these are 2, but we just have 1. The distribution by country, according to the recommendation, for this to be robust and resilient, we should have 2, but the majority just have 1, and the average is 1.27. The use of IPv6, as you can see, is very, very low compared to IPv4. This is 2020. Today it's a bit better. I cannot say that it is far better, but it's a bit better. DNSSEC, the numbers speak for themselves. I think this is about 2% at present.
And on top of that, there are certain recommendations that were given for running it. For instance, having eDNS activated, allowing for TCP communications, permitting LOC queries, prohibit recursiveness, and to prohibit zone transfer. And there, at least, we always have 100% compliance in the latter one. The others are close to 98, 99%. And the key conclusions of our study of the watch is that we have quote-unquote good results in name servers, regular in AS and countries, and horrible in the deployment of IPv6 and DNSSEC. Some could not be representative because we are using top Alexa, but the idea was to compare it against the numbers in the region. So that was my brief presentation for today, or that Hugo was planning to give today, and I'm presenting it because I was in charge of the project. But if you have any questions, then please, you can ask. Thank you.
Lisa? Okay, so if there are any questions, I think.
Si hay alguna pregunta, a ver, volvió Elisa. Elisa. Hola. No me oían antes, perdón. Bueno, muchas gracias, Javier. Si no hay ninguna pregunta en la sala, quisiera yo hacer una pregunta. Ah, sí, hay una, dos.
Sí, es un comentario más que una pregunta. No quiero molestar a mi colega.
I have a comment rather than a question. I don't want to bother my colleague. The idea of this observatory was to grow basically with the region's domain list. That is what a system needs to be able to monitor things properly. The original idea was to ask the NICs because they have a complete information, but
La idea de esto pueda
it was a complex thing, and we hopefully, like TLD, will be able to implement this well in the future, but not necessarily is that the only source of information. For instance, here we have large resolvers that manage a lot of traffic, and that also could also be of help. So I think that we could all somehow collaborate, and so for the benefit of the state of the DNS, I think that is something we all agree upon. Thank you. Ricardo Patara. First of all, congratulations for your work. Very interesting. Now I have a question. Do you do any other type of analysis based on the importance of the domain name? Of course, I saw that there are some studies that are based on the top domains in Alexa, but we know that there are some domains that are used for DNS servers of other domains, and if that fails, then a bunch of domains fail. Some domains are for portals. They manage a lot of traffic, banks that are critical. And if they're not working properly, if they make many DNSSEC errors and they are not well distributed, etc., they might be of concern. Well, not really. Not so far. Precisely at these meetings, we were saying that we could further fine-tune the analysis for domains that are name servers of other domains, domains that are highly available. And we could try to see the location of the domains in all the map of the internet. So this is a very good idea. I think this is something that we should do, and probably we should do it now. Thank you. Thank you.